Greetings, everyone. I'm coming live and direct from our letter Unleashed. And oh my God, this is what, the third, almost the fourth day of the new year. And this is my second blog post. So we shall see where this goes. But anyway, I came just kind of cool topic that I want to go and explore. And it's called Keeping the Past in the Past. And I was reading something on Spirit Library. And y'all know I'll always be referencing that. As a matter of fact, it's a meditation for 2011 that I went and posted on my blog earlier on our Let Unleashed blog. And one of the things that it was talking about was keeping the past in the past. And that really hit home for me because I had the most disturbing dream was the night or morning going into the first, I think. And the dream was about, in the dream, occasionally I have dreams about my ex. And these dreams are always very informative about where I am emotionally and spiritually because he was always a good reflection for me. But I felt all this sadness around the demise of our marriage. And I hadn't felt that in years and years and years. And I was like, where is this coming from? Why is this coming up? And it really disturbed me. And I feel as though that's totally complete. I guess it could be quite natural to feel sad about that to a certain extent, but I know it was totally for my benefit and for my best good, and I feel it's the same for him, even though he would have to say yay or nay to that. But I don't know. And one of the things that I can say is that the circumstances under which that relationship ended were crazy. You know, I called him up and told him I wanted to end our marriage over the phone, an international long distance phone call. And even though I did go and spend a little time with him after we had separated for actually like a week or two, we met up in the UK, but we never talked about, have ever to this day had a conversation really about why I chose to end our marriage. And so it's never been said, it's never been done, it's never been discussed. And sometimes I feel as though that is something I would like to do. But then, so I was contemplating it, and I was like, even if I wouldn't necessarily contact him, because I really don't have a lot of reason to be in contact with him. You know, have moved on with our lives. But I was like, maybe I need to go and actually write it out for myself. You know, sometimes you could go and get that kind of closure or clarity to something even by just communicating with yourself. And so, but that didn't feel right either. And so I'm reading this blog on Spirit Library and this posting, this meditation, and it was like one of the things for 2011 to do was keep the past in the past. And I think that was the whole point of that dream and that um, extreme amount of discomfort that it brought up was that that's still a habit of mine. I think it's a human habit to constantly dwell on what I could have did or what I should have did or what I learned from it or what was good or what was bad about it, so on and so forth, as opposed to just deciding that today is a new day. I can totally decide from this point on what kind of experience I have and only have those kinds of experiences. It ain't got shit to do with what I did yesterday or 2 years ago or 10 years ago. And so my conclusion was that I'm just going to leave that in the past. It was a great experience, excellent learning opportunity. I got a chance to experience love from uh, the other side of the fence, the side based on a fear and lack of self-love and low self-esteem and a strong sense of neediness and oh boy, all the wonderful stuff that we generally want relationships with. And it was good. It was good for that. So I finally decided to totally leave that in the past. It's irrelevant. There's no accident that to this day, we've never had any dialogue, and probably will never have any dialogue about why our marriage ended. And that's all right. So, this is my promise to myself because my brother-in-law had asked earlier, "What are you have any New Year's resolutions?" And honestly, I don't have any. Some really wonderful, amazing things jumped off this past year that I'm continuing and growing on, and just making sure that the energy which I'm doing is more and more fun. Because remember, my biggest challenge is having fun. But if there was a New Year's resolution, if I kept the past in the past, and every time I tried to bring it in the present, I consciously left it there in the past, my year would be fucking amazing, totally awesome, and so much fun. So, this is my challenge to you and my challenge to myself. Let's keep the past in the past. And just earlier, I was on Facebook chatting with one of my interesting chat buddies, and it's this whole guys thing, is this whole polygamy thing, and I realize how much I've grown and that I can have a conversation about polygamy and really respect the fact that someone actually wants to practice it and has all the typical uh, generalizations or justifications for why it should be done. And I mean, I try to convince them otherwise. I just don't. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. I think it benefits men far more than it benefits women. Because he's complaining about the type of females who were interested and entered into a polygamous situation with him and his lady or wife or whatever. And I'm like, well, duh. You know, he's complaining about, they were materialistic or they had Cinderella complexes, wanted to be rescued, or they had low self-esteem or issues, fucked up individuals. And I'm like, well, in my opinion, any woman who would, in most cases, with most men voluntarily choose that kind of situation, does have some issues. But at the same time, I share with him the fact that I've met one or two men who were so totally evolved and balanced in their masculine and their feminine that they would approach polygamy from a totally different way. And I wouldn't even consider being with that person because they really have a true respect and honor of the power of the feminine. This brother was pretty clueless. I had to kind of leave him in that cluelessness. I just share what I thought. But his whole justification was historically and how patriarchy was nature's way and how all mammals are polygamous and all of this shit. And I started thinking, I'm like, what is the easiest argument than be like, you know what? Let's look at the crazy, insane life that patriarchy has created and established over living in 2011. Let's look at this reality. This kind of fucked up. And if you're going to use history as a justification, we damn sure need to leave that in the past and do something different. So, in my opinion, that's a good way of totally negating that whole argument. Oh, hell no. If we look at what we've created up to this point with those same ideas and mentality, with this whole ascendancy and masculine energy and no balance and feminine, no respect and appreciation and understanding for it from either males or females, then no. All that shit needs to stay right where it is, and that's in the past. So that's just my conclusion. There's another good reason why we should leave the past in the past. So let's empower ourselves. I have always felt a little guilty that I'm always remiss in being a good friend. I've had lots of reasons for maintaining my distance, namely that I didn't want people to get too close because I had a lot of sense of all these expectations and needing approval and shame and all kinds of craziness, ideas and stuff, programming I received. So I always not be a good friend. I wouldn't open myself up. I decided to do that in the past too, along with everything else. So whatever is never been explained about my marriage stays in the past. Me not being a good friend or my feeling that stays in the past. And I invite y'all to join me with that. So, that being said, I'm going to close, and this is my second post for 2011. And well, let me know, how is that working for you? And I guarantee you, we all will be experiencing a whole lot more better if we choose to do that. And on that note, you have a wonderful, lovely, lovely, amazing evening. And until next time, as always, peace.